My name is Alessio, I'm an architect and I've been CPMG for 4 years now. So I think it's in my DNA. My dad is a builder, my granddad is a joiner, so I've always been attracted by the construction industry. I think what's interested me the most has been the idea of creating spaces and buildings that people use on the everyday life and possibly influence the way they live their lives. I was born and raised in Italy, so I've always been surrounded by art and beauty of design and technology. I studied in Genova, in northern Italy, and I worked in Milan and Paris, and I've now settled in Nottingham here at CPMG. So probably the most significant project I worked on has been the redevelopment of the Island Quarter. In particular, I've been involved in the design of Phase 1B and the Bioscience building within the master plan. But I've also worked on numerous healthcare projects like the Sterland Ward Nottingham City Hospital, the Geriatric Assessment Unit at QMC, and I'm now working on the new Community Diagnostic Centre in Mansfield. I think the most rewarding feeling of being an architect is when you get positive feedback from the client or the end users who actually is using the space you've designed. When I started designing a building, obviously apart from the brief and time or money constraint, I think the main principles that I try to focus on are the requests of the end users, who are not always the clients. So I try to put them at the first of my priorities, as they are the people who are gonna use the space the most. I always read and do a lot of research on new technologies, materials, but also new uses of traditional materials. And I try to do that by obviously looking at magazines, but also keeping informed on online. So sustainability is probably the driving factor of architecture nowadays, and this is not just about the environment, it's also about the human and economical aspect of a project. We are often asked to follow some guidelines like BREEAM or LEED, which give us tools and criteria to follow from the conception of a project. But I always try to put sustainability at the top of a project priorities, because construction is probably one of the sectors with the biggest impact on environment. Building regulations are probably one of the biggest constraints in architecture, but I don't think that this means that we cannot design innovative or challenging buildings because of them. Obviously, having proper knowledge of them will help us support the health and safety of the users at the first place. I think that rationalism is the style that is influenced my career the most, because I'm attracted by the beauty of symmetry and mathematical rules, especially on elevation. However, because of previous work experiences, I am quite drawn by high-tech architecture and postmodern architecture. Technology is at the basis of architecture, and there's no concept without good knowledge of materials and architectural solutions. And that's why here at CPMG, technologists and architects work in full synergy since the conception of a scheme. I think for the success of a project, it's really important to create very good team of people, which doesn't include only the designers, but also the client, the users, the consultants, project managers. And I think the best way to achieve that is having good communication based on honesty and trust. I always try to encourage people to take architecture university because I think it's one of the nicest jobs you can take. Every day is different. There's always something to learn, a new software to use, a new challenge to face. So I definitely think it's one of the best jobs. I do believe that sustainability is the biggest factor that's going to shape architecture in the future, and that's because the construction industry is one of the sectors which has got the biggest impact